5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Today is exciting. I am joined by Tim Rowe. And Tim Rowe has been a fan of what we've been doing here for a while, and we're starting to kind of bring him into the fold, get him a little bit more engaged with us. And so we decided to have him on the show. We are sitting in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 2 blocks from Lambeau Field, about to take Tim Rowe to his first Packer experience, big Packer fan, so we're stoked about that. So, Tim Rowe, let's start with this, man. You are an ex-BDC manager, right? So you've done the job. Talk to me about what it means to you to be a BDC manager, and you use the term hype man. So get into it. Tell me kind of what it's about.
Yeah. So from the outside perspective, looking in, it's real easy to look at BDC and think we can just manage it to a report, right? We can pick a metric and say, hey, it needs to be at this. But until we ask the question of, well, what does it take to get to that? We don't really understand what it takes to run a BDC. And I was fortunate to transition from just a strictly marketing position at a Toyota store to then taking over the BDC. There was some attrition. Hey, Tim, can you take this thing on? And I said, yeah, right? So I didn't know the reports. I didn't know the CRM. I didn't know any of that stuff. But from my prior experience in the military, I knew how to lead people. And I knew if I could lead people, figure out what it is that drives them inside, then I could get the most out of them. So really it became this role of becoming a hype man. Until I learned the CRM and how to manage to the metric, if you will, I had to rely on getting people excited to do their job. Sean, let's face it, we got folks that sit there and we're probably paying $10-12 an hour to call 100 people a day in hopes of getting 5 or 6 yeses, right? They have a 95% fail rate. They get told no all day long. Right. If you can't keep the morale high enough, metrics don't matter.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think the other thing about it is, and you talked about it before we came on, which is more about the individual, right? The position, it's a grind.
It's a grind.
It's a difficult job. It's something that you expect that people do because they enjoy the job. It's not always the case.
Sure.
I mean, picking up a phone, 100 dials, 200 dials, emails, text. I mean, you throw all that on there. It's a lot. So how did you, as you started to kind of grow into the position, how did you balance hype and data?
So let's start with, how did I win people, right? I knew I had to win the people first. So the first thing I did was re-interview all of my agents. And what I wanted to understand was, why are you here?
Sure.
Right? Let's have the tough conversation. Why are you here? Well, I'm just here because I want to get out of the house and do something during the day while my kids are at school. Awesome, cool. Sure. Now I know there's a particular way to manage you, right? There's a certain goal set for you. Why are you here? Well, because I want to make this much money. I love to ask these questions. What do you need to make? What do you want to make? And what's your, oh my gosh, I've made it number? Because when I'm looking at a thing like a pay plan, my pay plan may be in direct contrast to your personal goals. You may have maxed it out on just the hourly rate. Like, I'm good. I only need to make $500-600 a week. This is play money for me. Well, why are you here, and why am I putting so much effort into trying to get a certain level of activity?
Yeah, I mean, why grind 8 to 10 hours a day because you're looking for a hobby?
Right. So understanding what are your personal income goals, what are your why goals, why are you here, what do you want to do, and then building almost a leadership or management style to exactly that person.
Now, did you build separate pay plans for each individual? Or
No.
did the department had a pay plan in general? You were just trying to figure out how to adjust the levers to get everyone to engage.
Right. How far can I push you? If I know you're somebody who, the average agent's making $35,000-40,000 a year and you're trying to make 60, I'm going to show you how to make 60. The person who's good at 35, I don't need to push them that much hard. I'm going to manage them differently, right? I'm going to make sure that they're recognized and that they feel fulfilled and acknowledged for.
Because then you got to figure out what the levers of humans, right? So exactly. What motivates you? Is it a pat on the back? Is it a bonus? Is it this? And how many people were in your department?
So I had 6 agents, 1 service BDC, and 5 sales BDC.
Wow. And you managed both of those departments.
Correct.
But you have some service background, right? So that made a lot of sense for you.
It made a lot of sense, and so the role was developed before I got there, the service BDC, and having had a background as a service writer, I understood that was a very different conversation than a sales BDC person should be having, right? So I hired a brand new green pea, had no experience in the car business, and was able to just shape and mold her into what I needed her to do, which was
basically decline services.
Decline service, CSI follow-up. We automated the decline service process. We actually used a text message platform and put people into text message campaigns. And so always be testing, whatever your BDC is, always be testing different stuff, because up until that point, we've just been calling people, hey, you want to come back? Hey, you want to come back? As soon as we put the text message thing into play, yeah, I'll take advantage of that. Yeah, nothing changed. The offer was the same.
But the communication style changed, right?
Exactly.
And so when you changed your communication style to fit the customer, did you find just immediate engagement across all across the board?
Yeah.
From sales and service?
So especially on the service side with the text message, people were then able to consume it at their leisure and go, yeah, actually, you know what, I would like to come back in. Rather than being interrupted, dude, I was just there. Why are you calling me? I was just there yesterday.
Especially with the green P on the phone, overcoming objections, being the customer getting angry, whatever it is, why put her in the position like that, right?
Yeah.
Set your people up to succeed. So as a BDC manager, you were there, you had 6 people, 5 sales, 1 service. How much turnover did you have or experience in your time?
So while I was there, we had 0 turnover.
Really?
Yeah.
And what do you credit that to?
Actually taking an interest in people's lives.
Yeah.
I knew everybody. I knew, how many kids they had, how old their kids were.
Sure.
If I had a little something extra, tickets from a vendor, and I knew that, you've got a 4-year-old son, he might really love doing this thing. I'm going to cut you back 2 tickets. And people want to feel acknowledged. People want to feel like they're valued as part of the business.
Yeah, but that's part of the hype, right? That's what you talk about. It's the idea of now. See, I think in your case that terminology's got not negative connotation, but it was kind of said about you in passing, right? As you got to your job was, not a manager, just a hype man. I don't really draw a line in the sand with those 2 comments, because to me, I think a manager is a hype person. I think it's all about motivation. The leadership, right? I talked to this about last night. I don't get into the leadership books and styles. I am who I am. How did you mold the way that you went about it? Is it all the military background? Is it other guys you've worked for? I mean, how did T. Rowe create his kind of management style?
Yeah, so I would say it was a little bit of influence from the military background, some influence from just how I went about my daily life. Wake up in the morning, go work out, listen to something motivational, get my headspace right, and then as soon as I get to work, I would just transfer that same emotion to my agents. We would watch something motivational, we would watch something sales related, we would role play with each other. The first 30 to 45 minutes of our day, nobody was picking up a phone to dial or respond to a lead. It was solely focused on, let's all get focused on what we have to do, let's get motivated, let's get excited about it, get all the good neurotransmitters flowing.
Sure.
And let's go through a few no's. Let's role play before we start getting on the phone. If I've already heard no 3 or 4 times, I'm ready. Right? It's light sparring before you go get in the ring.
Right.
And that was, it paid dividends every single day. And then you got to measure, right? 8, 9, 10-hour days. We'd break in the middle. Sean, we would do silly stuff. Just everybody hang up the phones, turn off your computers. We'll just put on music and just have a dance party. Walk around, throw baseballs back and forth just to keep things loose.
Yeah, making it again about the environment, making sure that people understand that yes, while it is a job, you can temper that and still enjoy your life and go about it, the way that you do. So when you, as a BDC manager, what were the difficult parts? As you grew into the job, what were you like, damn, I could really use support or help with this, or I could really use an extra set of eyes for this? Where did you get involved in that? Was there any spot for you where you just said, this I could use help here, or there could be more?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm trying to think of one area that really stood out. I'd say somebody at a high level, and maybe it's because that was an area that I didn't have right away, but someone that could just maybe give you that high level reporting metrics overview as I was learning the CRM.
As far as contact rates, show rates, all these things, appointments set to lead ratios, all those things.
Yeah.
Were you given training previous to getting to the job?
No, just dive right in, right? Dive right in. Now I was fortunate in that there was training brought on. The dealer principal had hired an outside consultant, so that gave me at least a roadmap to, hey Tim, these are the things that you should be doing, and they just happen to be things that I really loved to do, like a live TO. I don't know that there's anything more valuable from a morale standpoint than a live TO, because you've got an agent struggling on the phone, right? They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
They want to know that you got their back.
Sure.
Right? So, hey, Sean, tell me you just thought of something. Put them on hold, right? Yeah. And grab the phone and be able to take that phone call and turn it into an appointment that shows up and buys a car. One, you've instantly won credibility with the agent. anything you say forever and ever and ever after that is going to be held as gold.
Yeah.
But two, they know, all right, if I'm struggling out here, Tim's going to throw me, a lifeline and help pull me out of it.
So in your position, see, I've been doing this a long time, and having been on both sides, retail and the consultant side, I noticed in the initial days of consulting, this was 9 years ago, when we do it, right, you'd walk into a store and there'd be this immediate wall, right? The trainer and the store and this idea that I'm here for your job or I'm here to do this, or how you obviously view training slightly differently because you didn't have any. So when you were at your store and you had the outsourced trainer, what was that relationship like for you? Was it a positive, or was it like a let me just stay out of my way type thing?
I loved it, and the trainer was excellent. For me, he was my lifeline, right? So I would live TO in front of him and then be able to put on hold. What would you do here? What should I be saying? Just the same, even though I'm the manager or whatever, I still needed help too, and he was able to serve as a resource like that for me.
And so you had that consultant for the duration of your time there?
Yeah, the whole time, and I think that there's still a relationship there, and they still goes in. So I think that if you're going to have a relationship with any sort of consultant or trainer, it needs to be ongoing.
Right,
like, consistency is key, and to just hire somebody to come in for 2 or 3 days. You forgot about it.
And I'm not sure from your position if you were really aware of the costs, right? How that works. I don't know how you deal with principal share.
I know it wasn't cheap.
But we're talking $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, right, for these times.
Plus travel.
Right. Well, plus travel. It shouldn't be that way. We talked about this last night. Like, if you're gonna charge people $4Gs, you should probably put the travel on yourself. But I understand, right? So I think the problem that I take with it now is just the expense to return issue.
Yeah.
With the 3-day approach. So with the ongoing, how was the ongoing training done? Like, was it always done in person? Was it done over the phone? Like, how did the trainer stay in front of you? Or was it just about when he was on site?
Yeah, so he would be in store generally 2 to 3 days, once a month.
Okay.
So we had him from, bell to bell. He was in
So you have him bell to bell Monday through Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, so 3 days, once a month, that would be his time.
Correct.
Okay.
And then there was some additional support, just digital.
Phone, text, whatever.
Yeah. But with somebody else from the team. But overall, it was a good experience. To your point, I don't know that you could quantify the return unless you have somebody who's highly bought in, right? Unfortunately, we had a department that bought in, and I clearly bought in.
Yeah, I'm not looking for me, when I ran stores, I never looked for return, right? It wasn't like, okay, bring a trainer and I better sell 10 more cars. I needed my people to just hear a different perspective, right? Correct. And that's what it was about for me. It wasn't that I thought, well, gosh, my guys are so bad. No. My guys been listening to me drone on, which can be annoying. And I'm very specific that maybe someone's second voice is helpful. Did you have a second voice? Was ownership as involved with your department, or did they kind of view you as the internet and kind of leave you to be almost on your island?
Yeah, we were definitely on our own island. We were siloed, and we operated as a team, right?
But as a singular team, right? Not
Correct.
As a part of the grander scheme.
Exactly.
Right? So,
exactly.
like, for today, we're going to see a football game today.
Yeah.
You were like special teams, right? You guys, that was your team. You were there.
That's it.
But that was it.
That's all I did.
Nobody passed or caught. It was special teams. And I think the issue we have as dealerships today is the silo. Do you think but do you think your department's success could have been greater with a full-on sales department integration?
Absolutely. Things as simple as, can I get pictures of this vehicle? This customer's coming from 6 hours away. Trying to get pictures was like pulling teeth, right?
Now, T-Rowe, you're from New Jersey, so that's like 3 miles away, right? 6 hours? Like, how does that, like, where's someone driving from? Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what would you do?
So you'd ping a salesperson, hey, Joe, can you take pictures of this?
But then they want that customer, right? Like, they want to know, like, were they cool?
Everything about
it? Right, so they weren't cool.
What's their credit score? How many kids do they have? Is their favorite color blue or orange? Like, and it would
when are they coming in?
No, just go take the pictures, dude, and then we'll book the appointment, and clearly we're gonna hand the deal off to you but just to have that support. So I think that's a cultural shift that needs to change. We're going to support the BDC. Whatever the BDC needs, we're going to support because they're a traffic source for us.
Right.
The BDC is the biggest traffic source.
Now, as a BDC goes, Business Development Center, did you guys do Equity mining. Did you guys do off-lease lists? Was that part of the job?
Yeah, so what we would do, and this was one of the ways that we would break up the day, we would do a power hour during the day. Everyone shut your computers off. Here's a list. Here's the script. Dial. And it was just fury. 30, 40 calls an agent inside an hour. Lease end. Equity,
maturity, whatever.
Right. In for service, had a big service ticket. Hey, maybe I could get you out of your car and get you reimbursed for your service.
Any equity mining tool you were using at the time?
Yeah, so at the time we were using the Team Velocity Apollo platform, which integrated with some of the marketing that we were doing.
Right.
So I was able to see, Sean Welsh has received an email that he engaged with. He got a direct mail piece, and he logged into the portal all within the last 30 days. So then I would sort the list by the most engaged prospects.
Kind of a scoring system.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we would call off of the highest probability down to the lowest.
So what does a successful power hour look like, and what is one that's not so successful look like?
So each agent would pick up another 1 appointment, 2 appointments, and that's
12.
Right. So
you 10 to 12.
Yeah, 10 to 12. And if the rest of the day they were doing 3 to 4 appointments, now all of a sudden they're at 5. But if I'm able to get 1 appointment inside that hour, and they were getting 4 in the other 7. Well, then that was arguably my highest return hour.
Yeah.
And as we know, these are some of our highest return customers, right?
Best gross, best everything. I mean, the whole deal is easier.
Yeah.
Right, with repeat referral. How many? So you had 5 agents on sales. What was the lead flow? What's the volume we're talking about for the incoming month?
So as a marketing guy taking over the role initially, I was with the mindset of I need as many leads as I could possibly get my hands on, right? So
it's not your money.
It's not my money.
What do you care?
I'm gonna be intelligent and make good choices, but I'm trying to get the most opportunity
it's a value
for
game.
my dollar.
You're a Toyota store in New Jersey. It's a value game.
So I wanted at the first month I had over 1,200 leads and 5 agents. That's aggressive math.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not
the worst math you ever seen
or
or heard. Yeah, for sure.
No way.
Not bad.
So, did all that and then took a real honest look at the end of the month and said, looking at individual lead sources, how much time am I spending trying to contact these folks versus what am I actually getting out of it? Am I selling cars? Am I buying cars?
Did you look at a contact rate? Is
Oh,
that something that you looked
absolutely.
at? The number of because people say, well, we contact every lead. That's not what we're saying.
Correct.
Well, how many conversations did you have out of 1,200? If you had 600, then you're at 50%.
Yep.
That was a big thing for us. Something you tracked and paid attention to. Did you notice that you could help your agents more directly by looking at their metrics in a broken up style like that? So if someone had a contact issue, then you approach that. If they had a show issue, then you approach that. It's not just, you can't just look at the lead to show metric without skipping that contact metric. Seems silly.
It's
right?
Absolutely. So I would take a lot of feedback from my agents. Tim, I've called this customer 12 times in the last 3 days and they're not answering. And then I'm starting to notice trends. It's all the same lead source.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's something here. So listen to your agents. There's nobody that knows the inside beating heart of your business flow than your agents. Maybe the biggest untapped resource is to just sit down with an agent for 2 hours.
Yeah.
See what they go through on a daily basis. I became a better marketer once I started listening to my agents and, Tim, I'm calling all these people, none of them ever pick up the phone. Or, hey, I'm calling these people, but they never show up.
Yeah.
So what is it? And let's start dissect. Is it something that we can do internally, or are these just not the best opportunities for us to pursue? So we went from 1,200 leads. I cut a bunch of stuff out. We dropped to like 800 leads with 5 agents. So now I'm skinnied up, right? Plus phone calls. Let's say we're at about 900. Average agent should handle 200 leads a month.
That's perfect.
So you're right in that wheelhouse.
Yeah.
What happened was they had become so used to the activity needed to handle 1,200 leads. Now they had 900, right? So I cut it by 25%. But they had capacity. So they were so efficient with the 900. I had better opportunities that were coming in. Fewer, better opportunities.
That's what it's about.
They still had the same work ethic and intensity. So I was spending less money and selling more cars because I had fewer leads.
Which is that's like your motto, isn't it?
Totally.
Isn't that what you have all over LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, sell more, spend less.
That's right. That's the T Rowe way. Which is how we view everything here at CarBiz is all about that and making sure that the customer realizes that you don't have to spend it all to get it all. Especially when you start thinking about, as you said last night when we got up here, you said the database. The database is the actual living gold mine of a dealership.
Totally.
Especially with Toyota store. How many units a month?
So it was a sleepy Toyota, so about 140, 150.
150 cars a month.
Yeah.
Over how long were they there?
Oh gosh.
Exactly. Let's just use a minimum of 10 years.
A decade.
Right. So we're talking just gigantic numbers of humans, right? Already there in your system, ready to be looked at. With a BDC manager job, how did you find your engagement with the desk managers to be, or was it that silo that did you pencil your own deals? Like, how did it work from, hey, we got a guy who wants numbers, how are we going to get them?
Yeah, so I think that is an area that if you're not willing to give a phone number over the phone,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're handcuffing yourself.
Right.
And there was some tension there, right?
Right.
Going to the desk
Used car managers want to appraise an unseen trade.
No.
Just give the guy a range, for God's sakes. Can we please?
Right. And you know, with presenting presenting a number over the telephone, it's the same as presenting it in the showroom. Be smart about it. You know, ask good closing questions. Do all that
Take
stuff.
credit card deposits over the phone. Like, put people in the same position
Don't
as
be
you were
afraid
there.
to give a number over the phone, because if you don't,
someone's gonna.
you're right. You're creating friction for that customer. And I mean, me as a consumer, I don't know about you, Sean, but I'm probably not going to do business with you. If you're making it that difficult for me to get the information I need to make a decision,
Dude.
I'm probably not going to do business with you.
No, you're not. Like, right now we're in the holiday season, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine going to a website, seeing a price, having a slash through it that says call for price? You call for price, they're not going to give you one. You wouldn't buy anything from that merchandiser. You wouldn't do it. But here we are.
Sure.
We set our websites up as conversion optimizations. We make sure that people understand how to walk through the process. Now you add in digital retailing, which is this make it easier for the customer. Wait a second. For 100 years, you don't want to give numbers over the phone, but now you just want to just show everything over the internet.
Let them do their own cardio.
What are we talking about here? Like, it's technology, right? We just so jumped the technology shark in this business, and we're all about the next best thing. But you as a BDC manager were willing to take a deal as far as you could.
Always.
If the customer wanted to take it there, you were going to do it.
Sure.
That desk relationship, it had to have been more headbutting than not.
Yeah, and oftentimes it was. So what I did as a manager, if my agent is getting a number, I'm going to present the number for a lot of reasons, right? You know, just like bringing in a trainer, third-party credibility.
Yeah. So you're going to present it to the customer.
I'm going to present, hey, this is Tim.
But you didn't pencil the deal.
Not
You
always.
had to go get the deal
Correct.
from the desk.
Correct.
And deal with whatever nonsense.
Oftentimes the response is just bring the customer in. Come on.
Bro, don't you think if I could have done that,
I wouldn't.
I
be
had done that?
standing
Why would I
here.
want to sit here and talk to you like this, right?
Yeah.
God, it's so frustrating. Drives me nuts.
So dealers are losing deals every single day that you're not willing to give it up. And exactly to your point, right? You spend how much money on inventory, on a website, on driving people to the website, so that they find, do you have the car that I want, and how much is it?
Correct.
And then you're not willing to tell them how much it is.
Right.
Everything else that got them to that point has just become a waste of money.
Everything.
Everything.
And no one sees it that way. The desk doesn't think about what was spent to acquire that customer to even get him to ask me to give them a number over the phone.
No way.
Why would I give a guy a number? He's 4 hours away. Well, that's why we would.
Because he called you.
Right,
for 4 hours
and I
away.
get it. I get it that you're like, well, there's no service. I get there's no service business, no return. It's cool.
Sure.
If we've got a rare unit or we've got an old unit, if there's something this dude wants and he's 4 hours away, there's a reason he's calling us.
Right.
Why is it, and what can we do to facilitate it?
Right. Is there stair step money on the table? Is it going to help me hit an objective internally? Like, whatever that is, look at every deal like it's its own deal and not just part of a
right. It's the internet department. You're back in the corner and you're just not. You don't understand the sales world. You don't get what it's like to be a desk manager. Blah 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 on that deal. If you could give advice to today's BDC managers, what would it be?
Yeah, get to know your people on an intimate level. Not a level that's going to get you in trouble with HR, obviously.
Sure.
But know your people, right? Know what makes them tick. I knew if my agent was having an off day, and I had a good idea about why, right? Get involved outside of work. I think that was, for me, was maybe one of the biggest things, was getting involved with each other as a team, even outside of work. We're going to have team building things. It's not just we show up, We go through this thing that sucks every day together, and then we go home.
Right.
We started like team building stuff outside of work, and it just paid dividends every single day. So know your people and be a master at your craft. And what I mean isn't be the smartest CRM guy in the world. Master your craft in the sense that you need to be a master of selling things on the telephone. Primarily the thing that you sell are appointments, right? Mm-hmm. Be a master at that. No scripts. I love scripts. I absolutely love scripts. Anybody that tells you don't use a script probably doesn't sell anything, because even if you don't follow the script word for word, there's a framework, a very specific framework to funneling somebody down to.
Yeah, I think it's about using a guide. I think you got to be careful with telling people to use scripts, because then they stick to them, and that's not how conversations
go.
Don't
be scripted.
Like, you can tell, right, when you call into a call center and someone's staring down the barrel of a script.
Yeah,
you can tell it. You want to get that human experience, but to your point, I think it happens through understanding your people and understanding their roles in the job. With the roles in the job, did you do, this is something we talked about last night, did you do mystery shops of your people?
I would, yeah, so actually that was, so I would mystery shop my own people, and I would mystery shop the competitors, and there was a multitude of reasons. I would mystery shop my own people, one, to make sure they were doing the things that we've all trained on and agreed and said, hey, we're going to do these things. But I would also mystery shop them as a way to acknowledge them, right? So I would go in my other little office and stand behind the filing cabinets and call, and they would hit everything, every structure of the phone call. They got all the information. They controlled the conversation. They did an excellent job. And then I could go out and be like, hey, I was just on the phone with you. You didn't. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just called. That was you. But then they knew, like, spot check. I've got the goods. I've done everything that I agreed to do. Mystery shopping the competition, I loved to do that. So do that, and then right after mystery shop the competition, put them on speaker. Put them on speaker in front of your BDC, so everybody can critique, good or bad, what that other store is doing.
Interesting. Do you? I totally get the competitor mystery shop. I've never understood the internals. I've never gotten it, because everything you need is right in the CRM. Couldn't you simply go in the CRM and audit your people the same way you can mystery shop them?
Totally.
Okay.
So I think for me it was the to be able to touch it right in live time.
But aren't you essentially wasting their time?
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Essentially what that is?
Yeah, I guess that could be a little frustrating. I just want to be like, it's like being so proud of your kid, like, great job, Johnny, that was a great hit. Yeah, I think
do that when they're done with the call. It's not you on the other line, though, right? Like, I don't know. You and I have talked about it, and we talk about it at Carbiz all the time. Is why are we still doing mystery shops? Like, if and I'll say this, I said it in a podcast I did last week for CRMs. I'll say it this time. Look, if you want to do a mystery shop, we're developing a tool that's going to be basically a mystery CRM shop. We're just going to log into your CRM, pull leads, take a look at it. If you're doing mystery shops for 4 or 5 minutes, some of these people are ridiculous. The companies that charge for mystery shops, right?
Oh yeah,
$600-$700 are like, well, it's included, and they're charging you $5 a month for management fees, but they include a mystery shop.
Thank God it includes that.
Yeah, so I think mystery shops are internal ones are useless. My opinion. I get the competition. I totally do. It's fine. I typically don't care what the competition does because that's not my house. This is my house, and I can only work with what I have in my house. But that's me. Did you have to hire in your job?
Yeah, so
because you didn't have any turnover, so
I hired 1, 2, so 3 of the 6 agents I personally hired.
You personally hired. Yeah. And what did you look for?
Can you have a conversation?
Yeah.
I'm not one of these guys that has a checklist of, interview questions to ask and all that stuff.
Check them off, right?
I just want to talk to you. Yeah. I want to talk to you. I want to see if you're willing to role play.
Right on the
we're
spot.
Just sitting, hey, let's, this is the context, right? I'm calling off of a secondary credit lead source. I probably have challenge credit, or I've had trouble securing auto financing.
Was that something you guys offered at the dealership? Did you guys do a lot of Spotify business?
Yeah, we did. So that was important.
That's a totally different hurdle than normal retail business.
Totally different conversation.
You guys treat people with more respect. Not that everyone should be treated with respect, but there's a certain kind of white glove service that I think comes with Spotify.
I think so.
Or should.
Yeah, so can you have a conversation with me, right? I'm a stranger.
Right.
And are you willing to role play?
Yeah.
If you're not, you're probably not going to be a good fit for at least how I lead a team.
Role play is a big part of what you did?
Role play is a huge part. Huge part. Just like we're going to the game, right? These athletes are going to warm up. Aaron Rodgers has thrown that pass 700 times this week in practice before he goes on that field.
And he'll throw it again one more time before he actually starts the game.
Correct.
Warms up.
Right. And maybe he never runs that play the entire game, but he's prepared to do it. It's muscle memory.
Right.
If you're not role playing with your team every day, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
That's interesting, man. I think that's a lot of what people need to see and hear about it, is knowing that getting into the role-playing situation, offering context to situations people might not be aware of, and really going through it as a team. And not just me, right? I used to tell my team, role-play with y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen, and you'd always tell them, look, if you're going to role-play, I know everyone likes to be the jag-off. Just try not to be that big of one. Let's try to be reasonable with each other. And, sometimes you match guys up that were really competitive with one another, and they try to find out ways around it, but end up with this like, wow, I learned that I could go deeper, I could be better. So I love role play. I think it's extremely important to our business. I don't think enough people do it. But again, to our point, can't this stuff be done online?
Oh,
as much as you enjoy having a trainer in-house.
Oh, absolutely.
3 days a month.
I think it's crazy.
What if you had access to one every 20 minutes, 20 minutes twice a week? You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing. Do you think it can be successful?
If I can FaceTime my cousin in Hawaii and have a half-hour conversation about what the kids are doing, why can't you do the same thing with training? And we make our money on the phone. Why can't the training just be done on the phone?
Right, because the CRMs can all be accessed remotely. They can be reviewed.
Absolutely.
Phone calls can be listened to. Is that a part of your job as well?
Yeah,
listening to phone calls.
Yeah, and, unfortunately, I had to let one agent go. So we were actually at 7 at one point. So I had to let one agent go, and it was for exactly that. It was because I'm listening to phone calls. Now, I'm there. I'm in the room. I'm listening to conversations, but I can't be there 100% of
so you got to go back and listen to calls.
Go back, just spot check stuff. Maybe if you're having trouble with one lead source that's not converting well and you have call tracking, listen to those phone calls. Is it the way that I'm handling that lead source? Maybe there's something that customer wants that I'm just not delivering on, or maybe it's a bad lead source. But yeah, going back and listening to phone calls, you're going to hear some crazy stuff. They're coachable opportunities. Coach first.
Why did you let them go, though? There's too many phone calls, too many negatives?
They weren't coachable.
One coachable.
Yeah, we go through it, keep investing time, keep giving them the same.
Keep making the same mistakes.
Same mistakes.
Yeah, see, that's a part of it, right? So I have no problem with mistakes. It's human nature. I'm a huge baseball fan. You're Hall of Fame worthy if you do your job right 30% of the time. Right? 30% of the time. There's only one guy who's ever done it 40% of the time.
Right.
In the history. So I get that that's part of mistakes or part of the game, but what we can't have is the repetitive mistakes.
Yes.
That's a bad habit, right? And a bad habit's something that's tough to get out of you. If people who smoke cigarettes, right? If they can't just quit smoking and they pick it up and they quit for 5 months and they pick it up and they quit for 5 months, they haven't actually done anything. They've just delayed their bad habit.
Yeah.
And so with our time, for our agents, we don't have enough time in a day. You've already got 6 other kids, if you will, that you've got to corral and coddle. If the seventh can't get on board, natural selection, right? And so you have to move on. For that part of the job, what does that say and do to the other agents in the room?
By letting that person go, it let the other agents know that I was looking out for the quality and the well-being of the herd, of the pack.
Sure.
Because this agent is costing my other agents money.
Well, how's that?
Because they are blowing opportunities that a good agent is going to turn into a call.
Got it. It's not like you had a team bonus or anything. There was no team pot that they were affecting.
So
individual lead.
A good segue, right, is we would put out a team goal. And
so
the July, I think it was, said if we get 250 shown appointments inside the month, we're going to go have a badass dinner.
Okay.
And we ended up with, I think, 266. They crushed it, right? So we went out and we had a ridiculous dinner.
Right.
And it was that, again, outside of work, team building. Hey, we're all human beings here.
But everyone pushed towards the common goal.
There was no financial incentive for them whatsoever.
Except for a free dinner.
Except for the free dinner.
Right.
Everyone got dressed up. We all went out. We drank wine, ate good food. And, I mean, my team
sounds wonderful.
My team was unstoppable. They would have run through a brick wall for me.
I believe that's shown in how it all ended, and I don't think we need to get into that, but basically it was kind of a Jerry Maguire moment where actually people did go with you and when you left, and I get all that. So here you are now, T. Rowe, sort of the independent contractor going through life. When you look back on your time as a BDC manager, is there anything now that you've learned since being away from the job that you say, man, I wish I had a chance to do that in the store? Is there anything you've seen or any technology or anything that you wanted to be a part of now?
Yeah, so as far as a piece of technology, I really was, the next step was going to get my agents individually to be more involved with video. They were doing text, email, phone call. That was the next step, was video. And we were going to start with one agent on a specific person, a specific type of customer. It was an equity.
Are we talking a video intro, or are we talking, so you're talking equity mining, there's a whole word track behind it.
Right, so rather than that phone call interruption or text or email, we were going to start recording really just a generic video. Hey, it's Tim from Tim's Toyota, and I noticed that you might still have your XYZ vehicle, and it's probably time to XYZ. And so each one would have been scripted to that person and their situation in a way that's sort of fun and easy to digest. It's different.
Yeah, we're not normally name droppers on this show, but I think we have a mutual friend whose tech you were using to do this.
Yeah, so I really liked it a lot. So we used Snapcell.
Right.
We used it on the showroom
The
floor.
Brits.
Excellent job. The
Brent Williams and the boys.
So easy.
Yeah.
Some of the things that so my sales staff would use it. So we would set an appointment, we would confirm the appointment, then it would get turned over to a sales rep.
Okay.
And that sales rep was then responsible for making a video. Hey Sean, it's Tim down here at Tim's Toyota. I'm really excited to see you at 3 o'clock. I got the Camry pulled up for you. This car is beautiful. I don't know if you knew or not, but this thing's got a JBL sound system.
Just one little touch point.
That's it.
Yeah. Minute videos. What are we talking?
Yeah, 45 seconds.
Okay.
And the way that platform works, so good.
So dope, brother.
Press and hold.
Yeah.
And
when he showed it to me at the
so
show, man, I
clean.
was blown away.
It's so clean, and for the price point, you couldn't touch it. So it was easier for my guys to use. They were able to produce better videos. It was less expensive. It was just a no-brainer. I loved Snapcell.
Yeah, cool. So that was awesome. So video was a big part of it, and you do, you like me, do a ton of video now on social whenever you
Correct.
can. I think you're finding what a lot of people find is that it can be difficult to generate content on an ongoing basis depending on what you're trying to do. And so dealerships, I think, run into the same thing. I think dealerships started to really stress out about walkarounds and all these kind of little minute things when really it's just about that customer engagement. If the customer wanted to see a walk-around video, they're probably going to go to Toyota's website, or they're probably going to, whatever. There's probably some kid on YouTube that's got 1 million views that's going to populate first anyways, right? So I don't really get into that. But what I do get into is I get into the customer service aspect. I get into the post-sale engagement. Now, you asked a question on LinkedIn, whatever it was, 10 days ago, about bird dogs and about referrals. How did you guys do anything in the BDC as it related to that at post-sale? Or was post-sale all done at the salesman's behest?
Yeah, so post-sale was 100% on the salesperson. We took it right up to the line of getting the customer inside the door. After that, it was all on the sale.
The job ends. So what is the bird dog mentality at your dealership?
So we used $100 bird dog, and then it was sort of like you had touched on. It was sort of stair stepped, and once you gave me so many referrals, you were $200-$300 a pop. I just don't know that that's really an incentive for people, right? Not that people don't like money or they couldn't use an extra $100, but am I going to actively go out and become like your best referral source because of $100? No, probably not. I will if you made me feel a really particular way. You made me feel really great. One of the things when I was still on the floor, something that I would do is I used a simple service, send out cards, and I committed $20 from every deal to taking care of my customer post sale. And what that meant was they got a handwritten card and a dozen chocolate chip cookies, and it was sent right to them. And I mean, that thing paid itself, 10x
all day, right?
All day long.
All day.
Because Tim, you didn't have to do that, man. You were great to us during the sale. You took care of us. Yeah, I took care of everything. I know that, but I want to stand out.
Yeah, see, I did birthday cards
for
the car.
Cool.
And I didn't do birthday cards for the humans because I found it as creepy. It's like I met you for 2 hours, like have a joyous day, like nope, this isn't gonna work for me. But the car, I can identify with the car because I sold the car, and so did you name it yet? And blah blah blah, right? So have some fun with it. But I think people approach that all very very differently with bird dogs. I think it's a part of the business. As I told you here, as we sit in the state of Wisconsin, completely illegal.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Can lose your sales license for doing so. It's totally stupid. The state is completely asinine, but unfortunately it's tied to the blue law that also keeps us closed on Sundays.
Sure.
So no one's going to say nothing about nothing because nobody wants to open on Sundays.
I want to work.
And I don't blame them. The consumer don't want you open on Sundays either. They enjoy that freedom of looking, as it were. So as we kind of get into the rest of this and more about it, you had a very interesting quote in our text exchange leading up to this show where I said, hey, what are the other things you want to talk about? And it was, do I have it right? It was ads showing you specials on your pricing, right, for your ads, and the math. Now, I'm not going to be able to showcase, I'm not going to have you stand in front of the camera and show the math, but you're going to have to explain to me what in the hell you mean by it, because I assume the answer to you is no, don't do it, otherwise you wouldn't go through all this. So talk to me about specials and pricing in your world.
So my son and I, we go to a lot of hockey games. Yeah. And there is a particular stretch of highway between my house and the arena that there's a lot of billboards.
Sure.
Okay. I see 10 to 15 of those billboards, electronic and poster, that advertise a specific model and how much you can lease that car for a month.
Okay.
And I think it's the most ridiculous waste of money that you could possibly have.
You just mean billboards in general?
Not necessarily.
Or giving a price with a car up on a billboard.
Advertising a special on a specific model. If you are paying to put that on something, I think is a huge waste of money. And here's why. Here's the math on why.
Yeah, you got to see this check up. You got to get a pen for this. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. The hotel pad and pen. You might want to grab one for yourself.
Yeah, because we're all going to need to grab one because I'm not positive. All right.
So let's just say we're going to use we're going to say $2,500 a month
for the billboard,
for an electronic billboard.
Okay.
And I advertise.
So you're not saying anything about putting those specials on your website.
No, there's more data on how hero banners don't get viewed or clicked and all that crap.
That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the specials page on your site. I agree with you, heroes banners are bullshit. Stop having 7 of them. No one sits there long enough. No one cares. It's like a .20. The data's there. No one cares.
Correct.
So you're just talking about billboards
spending money
to tell people a special
that you could lease the Camry for $239 a month.
Okay, so $2,500 is your
$2,500 is the math.
That's your base math.
And let's just say where this billboard is positioned. Let's say it's market exclusive, right? The only people who see it would shop at you. So we're not having to compete.
Okay.
There's 100,000.
Not sure how it'd be market exclusive though.
Right, but
in New Jersey, you got Toyotas. You got 3 of them surrounding you. He's gonna have 100,000 people are gonna drive past it. But fine, let's assume.
So let's say our audience is 100,000 people.
Okay.
There's 100,000 people that live in our market.
Yes.
And there's probably not. We're just using it for round.
2% are in the market to buy a car.
2%. You already see where it's going.
Right. Well, I don't know yet.
2% are in the market to buy a car. That's 2,000 people that could buy anything new. Used, franchise.
So now we split it in half for new versus used, right? So now we're down to 1,000.
1,000, right? Okay. And let's say you're Toyota, and depending on your market, but for round numbers, let's say you've got 10% market share. Toyota does.
10% market share.
So 1,000 becomes 100. And you sell what?
I sell
20 Camrys a month?
Right. 20 Camrys a month.
So there's 20 Camrys that will be sold inside of the month.
Uh-huh.
And again, we're assuming that this is exclusive to you.
Right, which, again, I have no idea. To be helpful to your math, I get why you have to be exclusive, but that's not a real thing.
It's not realistic,
it's fine.
right?
You couldn't have your math equation without it, so okay.
So you were going to sell, because you're a franchise Toyota dealership in the United States of America protected by franchise laws.
In some states now. It's starting to break up, but yes.
You were going to sell Camrys anyway. How many do you think you would have sold anyway? We're saying that you're going to sell 20. How many, if you didn't advertise at all, how many do you think you would sell?
See, that's a fool's errand. It really is, because it's this idea. Fine. But for round math, just let's say 10.
10. So now we've gone from an audience of 100,000 to 2,000 people being in the market.
Yeah.
1,000 of those will be in the market for a new car. 100 of those will buy a Toyota. 20 will buy a Camry. You were going to sell 10 anyway.
Yeah.
That leaves 10 left over.
10 left over.
$2,500 divided by 10. Now this is attributing 100% attribution,
which is
to the billboard,
stupid and ridiculous. That's $250 though.
It's $250 a car. If you can tell me 100% the reason that this person bought a car was because of the billboard.
So your advocacy is against billboards. It's not against specials because you couldn't tell me you'd rather see your name up there with no special as a branding play.
I think if you have a unique value proposition, that's what should be on the billboard. And
Lifetime warranty, lifetime oil changes.
Don't not do the billboard because you don't think that math is there. If it's a pure branding play, do it all day long. But is somebody going to come buy the car because they saw the lease advertised on your billboard? No. Will somebody say, I saw the lease on the billboard? Yes, and there's a very specific neural reason, not to nerd out too much. It's called the reticular activating system, and it's the same thing that we do when we're looking for a car, though.
Sure.
All of a sudden, I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I understand. Like when I first moved to Boulder, Colorado, I told my wife, I said, you know what? We're going to be different. Now that we live in Colorado, we're going to get a Subaru. I stood on the dealership's front lot for less than an hour and saw 700 Subarus go by past and thought, I'm not that different. It's not that. No. Here it's just a car. You know, from Chicago, a Subaru, you'd be weird, right? You'd be a tree hugger. But in Boulder, you're just a Boulderite. Like that's just what you drive. So yeah, I get you with that transmitter. But this idea, right, is $250 a sold car if
you can attribute
100% to the billboard.
If you can, which is
stupid.
The case.
And again, a fool's
nobody
errand.
believes that.
A fool's errand.
Do the billboard if you have that unique value.
Just don't put a special.
I just think it's a waste of money because here's what's happening, right?
You'd rather brand though, is your point. You'd rather brand than call to action.
I would rather use that, right? Branding, strong call to action, a sales message unrelated to a specific vehicle, and here's why. If I'm shopping for a Toyota, maybe I'm not looking for a Camry, but I am looking for a Tacoma. And I know that you have this other suite of benefits to me as a potential Toyota customer. I'd rather talk to the 100 people who are going to buy a Toyota rather than the 20 who are going to buy a Camry.
Okay.
And that's why.
So backing back to there makes sense, right? I get that. When we take it all the way to a sold unit, that number doesn't look that bad.
No,
I mean, TrueCar charges a nickel, like it's, you know, and there's nothing direct about their attribution
either. Getting excited watching
right,
this.
Well, they are, and don't. He's not advocating for more of them. But what you're saying is, I like the idea of we are a Toyota store that offers lifetime warranty, oil changes for life.
Yes.
Right? Those two are value props. What is not a value prop anymore is Wi-Fi, shuttles, customer lounges. Although you were in one of the nicest one I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, you taken a picture of what looked like you were in a Wisconsin winter lodge, for God's sakes. It was brick and it was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's my hometown Toyota dealership. Right, it looks like a lodge.
It's beautiful.
Breakfast and coffee.
But guys, that's not anymore. There has to be other value props. Free Wi-Fi and shuttles, just and loaner cars. It's like the norm, dude. It's like if you're not doing that, get your head out of your ass and start doing it.
Right. Like I love the whole VIP thing and how much we've bastardized VIP.
I know. You made it to everybody now, dude.
Right. Push somebody to the front of the line. I love stores that have like the rewards program, but they don't necessarily always do a good job. Make it special.
Yeah, no,
make it for a very hey, you get a this.
And I'm not a rewards guy, are you?
I'm not. Maybe for grocery shopping, just because that bag of Doritos is gonna be 12 cents less.
I don't go to the same place. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. I guess because I have grocery stores around me, but like I don't do like the hotel ones or the flying ones. Like I'm a deal based guy, right? I like to go where I like to go. You and I talked about like subscription based stuff like Airbnb, where I don't have to. There's no point system for Airbnb, but I'm ranked as a human, right? So it's 4 or 5 stars, but it doesn't affect my price.
There's an intrinsic value, right? And just like make your customers feel special.
But it goes back to reviews.
Yeah,
it goes back to showcasing reviews and really engaging that part.
Maybe the biggest opportunity, right? You want to do something different on a billboard, and you've got let's say it's electronic billboard. I'm putting up pictures
5-star Google reviews.
5-star Google reviews. Have pictures, happy customers. That's it. There's no greater social proof.
I guess if you look at your budget digitally or otherwise, just an advertising budget, if you look at it from a branding play, a VDP driver play, so you're just trying to get as many people on the VDPs, to actual just internet marketing, PPC, whatever. I think it's okay if you have, hey, look, we have $5,000 to spend on branding. We're going to spend $2,500 on digital. We'll spend $2,500 on billboards. I have no problem with that because it's your money.
Sure.
So this idea that we need to keep telling you that look, I'm one of the first guys in the last 6 years to tell people they spend too much money online.
Yeah.
But Tim, it's their money.
It's their money.
And if I say to you, hey guys, like we talked about last night, seasonal spending. You went to your bosses, you said, hey guys, we don't need to spend in January what we spend in June. And their reply was,
Yeah, we spend $100,000 a month anyway. Like we're comfortable spending $100,000 a month.
So instead of you and I going and bashing our head against the wall trying to make sure we can make this customer understand, here's the reality. We don't have to.
No.
He agreed. We agreed. And all we can do is track down his data to give him the best picture we can of what's up with his 100 Gs.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
So we gotta, as an industry, man, it's these guys' money. And trust me, I'm the first one to protect it. But if they want to spend it, who am I to say?
Yeah. I think that's the conversation that isn't happening though.
No.
Is hey, here's our recommendations of what to do in order to when I wrote service, and anybody from the fixed op sides will be able to appreciate this. You sold service in a particular way. Safety, right? Then required maintenance, then recommended maintenance. And you sold in that order for a very specific reason. Hey, Mr. Dealer, here are the things that you need to do. You know, I posted about this the other day. You're going to have like a homeostatic baseline of, I'm a 100-car store. If I didn't spend any money on advertising, I would sell how many cars? That's my baseline. Now I'm just looking for that incremental. How do I get from there to the next level? No agency in the world is going to tell you, if you don't spend any money, you won't sell any cars. It's ludicrous, right?
I've got a lot of people who threaten to go black, right? They're like, I'm going to go dark. I'm not going to spend any money.
I say do it for 90 days so you figure out where you are.
They don't have the guts.
It's scary.
They're terrified because
scary.
day 30 happens. You're 15% off of last year, and immediately you spend 4 times what you were trying to save so you can make up for the next 2 months. I got news for you. That is not how data and buying cycles work.
Not at all.
So if you cancel a vendor on December 1st, and by January 1st sales are down 15%, that cancellation had zero to do with this discussion. This has already been built in the pipeline. You haven't done the job leading up. How often do you find that people really have a lead problem?
Never.
They have a selling problem, or they have a showroom.
They have a
visit
too
problem.
many lead problem. They have a redundancy problem. They have I paid 3 or 4 times for this same
The old
lead.
duplication of services, right? Spending money because you don't understand. One guy says to me, I met him, I walked into his dealership years ago, and he says, yeah, so I got this one vendor doing PPC, I got another guy doing SEM.
Oh no.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I think you mean SEO. He's like, no, I mean SEM. Look at these bills. And I'm like, wait, you're doing the same. Well, how did you do this? Well, this guy, there's 2 different things. They're 2 different words.
For the same thing.
But they're the same thing, right? And I think our industry still struggles with a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I think we still struggle to understand, and it comes down, I think, to ego, right? I think the ego of really hardcore car guys is like, look, dude, I know everything about this business front and back. You ask a dealer right now, you walk in the next dealership, you walk into and say, where are you guys at for sales against a month, against last year? Without a doubt, boop, done. Where are you at in your conversion on your website, click to call, and form submissions from mobile? What? Crickets. Why is that? They were raised to do one thing, sell cars. But what they need to know is how many licks did it take to get the center of the lollipop?
Yeah.
How many ups did it take? How many leads did it take? How many agents does it take? You and I are talking with the group right now. It's got plenty of leads and 0 coverage.
Totally. And
stop spending the money on the leads.
Stop. Just stop, because even if your result stays exactly the same, you save $30,000. So the drill that I like to walk a dealer through is, right, you've got 2 agents, 2 times 200 leads each is 400. You have 1,200 leads. I can make a very strong case that 800 are wasted at an industry average of $50 a lead. That's $40,000 a month. That's $480,000 a year that you don't need to spend.
Invest in your people.
Right. What do you want to do with that money?
I want to get people.
Yeah.
I want to invest. I want to be better for people. So we're gonna kind of close this out. But one of the things that I've always been interested in about you and the way you go about doing things is you are you're a high energy. You're big about the motivation stuff. Where does Tim pull his motivation from?
Man, I really love people. I love people because there's maybe no greater investment to invest in somebody and see them start to realize what their own value is. And then it's a force multiplier, right? Like, I could just invest in Tim Rowe and that would be fine and I'd feel lovely and just great about it. But if I can make 4 other people great,
Sure.
And then they can make two people great.
Turns on the Brady Bunch thing, right?
Yeah, right. So it's this compound effect of, hey, I had
They
that,
tell two people.
right. I had that manager, Tim. He was really awesome. It's cool. I still get calls from my agents that.
All right, different dealerships doing different things in their lives.
Different walks of life now. Tim, thank you so much. Like, you changed my life. One of from outside of this industry, I helped get him promoted, and we're still good friends to this day. And now he's a manager. Now he impacts lives. So that's how I view it. I view it really big picture.
So your motivation is the human element. You enjoy the humans.
Yeah.
T. Rowe, thanks a lot for being on, buddy.
Thanks,
You're awesome.
man.
Thanks a lot. Hey guys, as always, you can find me all over LinkedIn. You can find my boy T. Rowe all over LinkedIn as well. Facebook, we're starting to pick up our presence there, if you will. The text line, 262-278-0157. Text it up. Call me. I'm there on the other end of it. Email Sean, SEAN, at carbizdonebetter.com. Guys, as always, thank you so much for engaging, and we look forward to seeing you next time.